Hello guys, welcome to everyone. I'm chess coach Rohit, and this is your place to become a chess pros step by step. If you see, if you check my channel, I'm posting from step by step how to learn how to play with all your pieces, then how to do checkmates. Today's lesson is about the value of every piece and how to do checkmate on lone king. When the king is alone on the board, how you can give a checkmate in very few seconds. You don't need to think, you just need to play your moves and automatically you can do a checkmate. So we can do all those things. First of all, we will see the value of every pieces. Okay, based on their values, we know their powers and we are exchanging our pieces. So that is very important. So these are our pawns. Okay, they are small, but they can promote and become queens. Okay, but the point is one because we have so many pawns, like total eight pawns on the board. So all the pawns, each pawns have 1 points. Okay, then next knight and bishop. If you know, knight and bishop like moves in a different direction. Like knight can jump over the pieces, but it's a slow piece. Bishop can move only in a one color of a square, but it's a very for long range piece. Okay, so both value is 3 points. Okay, these are powerful, but the rook and the queens are more powerful than them. Okay, so next the rook value. Rook is the very powerful piece on the open files. Like if the files are open, it's very powerful. It can move on the same color of direction as well, same color of squares as well, and it can move any steps. Very long range piece. Okay, so the rook value is 5 point, and the next is our most powerful piece. Let me go. Yes, queen. This is the most powerful piece in a chess game. Okay, it can control the files, it can control the diagonals. Okay, so the queen's value is 9 point. Okay, and always remember we can't exchange the king, so the king value is infinite. Can't exchange it with any other pieces. While exchanging pieces, okay, don't do a bad exchange. Bad exchange means when you are losing more points and getting less points. Try to do either equal exchange. Equal exchange are good for both the players. But if you are getting a chance to do a good exchange, means when you can winning a more points. That's the best exchange, and that will help you to win your games in chess. Okay, now we will quick go to learn checkmate. Now let's say your opponent has only one king left on the board, okay, and you have a queen, okay. So how we will give a checkmate? So first our goal is to corner the king on side of the board, on edge of the board, any side of the board. So if you see right now, this king is on a h2 square, like it's already on the H file. Okay, so our first task is to move the queen to G7. Now the king is controlled on the corner, right? So we already controlled it. Now the second task, the second goal is to we need support. We need the help from our king. So we will call our king for a help. So when our king will come here, that king will help us. And now see, now, when the both kings are facing each other, now you have a chance to do a checkmate. You can try to give me the answer. How will you do checkmate in this position? With one single queen, we already learned checkmates as well. But today we are learning how to do with one single, like how to trap the one single king in our games, right? So if you remember, just write down the answer in chat. Okay, next. So we already know that we need to control the king, force the king to move on the corner of the side of the board. But let's see, this is not on the side of the board. How we will force him without like just using the techniques. So always remember this knight jump strategy, the L shape strategy. If you put your queen in a L shape, like 2.5 square away from the king, that queen can control so many squares of the king. So the king has to go back either on the c6, d6, or c4 square. Okay. So, however, the king will move. Like if it's going moving in a diagonal, you can also for sorry, it's right move. Okay. Now, if the king is going in diagonal, you can also move your queen in the same way. If king is coming down diagonals, just move it in the same way. If the king is going down, go in the same way. You just need to follow the king in the same way and put the king always on the in a L shape. And once the king will reach to the side of the board, just first thing to control the king on the side of the board. One job is done already. And now, and always leave some square for the king. And once the king is on the corner, you need help from your king. Don't block the queen with your king. Okay, just move it here and then again. Write down the answer. How will you give a checkmate in this position? Okay, there are two possible ways to try to do this. Okay. Okay, so I hope you guys understand how to do checkmate by using one single queen. If you have any doubt, you can just write the answer, write your question in chat. I will try to explain you, and I will also give you the this links so you can practice this here. And if you want to also play, you can join our live session. We will play together, and also I will try to analyze your game. Okay. Mhm. So now we understand how to do checkmate by using our one single queen. Now we will also learn how to do checkmate by using two rooks on the board. So two rooks are very powerful and we can use the ladder mate or rook rolling technique. Rook rolling technique means we will use our both the rooks one by one. So if you will see, and obviously first goal is to corner the king. So if you see this rook is controlling the c file, so we will use the other rook. Now the king is to force to move on the side of the board. And then we used already the b2 rook, so we will use the other rook, the rook rolling. One by one, we will use both the rooks. So now the c1 rook to a1, and that's a checkmate. That's called two rook checkmate, two rook ladder mate as well. Okay. In this position, say the king is little bit far from the corner, so we will try to go there. So already this rook is controlling the fifth rank, and we can move this rank to control the sixth rank, and the king has to move backwards on the seventh rank. But there is a one problem. This king can also move on closer to your rook, and now if you use the other rook, then you will lose the first rook, right? Because the king is closer. So there are now two techniques. If the king will come closer, first just use your one rook, protect it. The king will move far, then use it. Then king will come here. Now again you can't go like directly here to give a checkmate. So put the rook to b7. Both rooks are protecting each other. King is forced to move like in a zugzwang position. It's forced to do mistake and then checkmate. Now the second technique is when the king is closer and if you don't have time and you know like there is no way to protect it each other, just move your rook far away from the king. Will come closer to the other rook. Move the other rook also far away from the king. Obviously, we already know the kings are very lazy, very slow pieces. So our rook can just go far away and then again start rolling your rooks. Perfect. And then that's how you will win this game. Okay. Now this one is for you guys. Try to think, find the answer, and write down your answer in chat. Okay. And also, you guys can use leeches or chess.com. Uh, Go to the queen versus king checkmates or rook checkmates, the piece checkmates. Okay, and there you can practice this. It's very important to practice this. That will help you to win your most of the games. Mostly in the indie games, you have less time, one rook or like one queen. So if you have less time, these techniques will help you to save your time and win the game. Okay, okay. Now mate with one single rook. Okay. So one single rook is a little bit tough than queen and little bit tough than doing checkmate with two rooks. But here we will use a box technique. Okay, if you see this king has a that much bigger rectangle, that those all squares are free for the kings. What we will do, we will one by one reduce this box, okay, by using our king and rook both. Sometimes we will move the rook, sometimes we will move the king, but our task is to reduce this. Okay, so let's start. So our rook alone can't do anything. So first just to come here, king will come here. Now we can't reduce this box, so we will move the king. The king has to come here. Now see, this is that much bigger rectangle is here. We will just close this, and now this king has only 4 square of rectangle. Okay, now king has to move here. Now we can't move our rook here, then we will use the king. King here. Now we can't close again. If we will move up, we will go or move down. So see, giving unwanted checks are not so good. Okay, we will try to control the king's square, reduce the king's square, and force him to move in a corner. So let's go. And now again we got a chance to reduce this squares. See, now only 3 squares rectangle. Now king has to move back. We will go over here. And now see, we can't do anything. If we will move here, we will lose the. If we will move here, the king will escape from that rectangle and move in the another box. Just move the king back. Waiting move and then closer. See, now this king has only this 2 squares of rectangle. Okay, now again we will use the same technique. Again, this moves here, here, sorry, yes, here, and now we can move the kings here. King has to move on this side. Remember, first control the king. Okay, it comes here to attack your rook. It's okay, just come here. And now the kings will move to e8. Now there is a two-move checkmate. Okay, you need to think, pause the video, think about how you can do a checkmate in 2 moves. If you get the answer, write down your answer in chat. Okay, I will tell you the technique. See, we move this king front of our king. Okay, so if you see this king is available, the king's available square, either the king will capture your rook or move to d8, and we want him to move to d8. So keep control this f file and move this rook anywhere on this file squares, f6, f5, f4, f3, f2, f1, and the king is forced to move front of your the opponent king. Then checkmate, right? Okay, so that's all for our today's class where we learn the piece values and checkmate alone game. If you guys have any question, you guys can just put the question in comment box. Okay, so today we learn how to use one rook to trap the king by using the or like by using the their box. We also learn how to do checkmate by using two rooks and with one single queen. Okay. So now you guys also have a homework to practice to go to the leadchess or chess.com to practice this piece checkmate. Okay. So and if you want to learn faster, then join ChessPros Academy and level up your game from beginner level to 1800 plus rating. And make sure you will do that. And if you learn something here, don't forget to subscribe now and let's master chess together. Okay.